Hello, Sean Sands from Gamers with Jobs here, back with more Kerbal Space Program. Last time we went to the moon, we collected a ton of science, just a bunch of science. And this time we're going to run a. I'm not sure which mission we're going to run. We're going to revisit that question. That question in a second. I have added a couple of mods. At least somebody requested I put in the essentially the mod that changes some of the environment, adds some clouds, adds some ground texture. So I've tossed that in. No harm in that. I've also added the Planet Shine mod, which makes the really dark bits a little less dark. So the game gets pretty dark when you're on the far side of the planet or something like that. I figured just for the visuals might help a little bit. I am going to keep this relatively mod light. Um, Obviously, we have MechJeb, we have the clouds, we have Planet Shine, but I'm probably not going to add anything else from here. I know there are lots of little mods to sort of help with science and add some parts and add some difficulty. I'm just going to generally stay away from this. First thing up, we have this 371. I ran a couple of smaller missions to just add a little bit back here, but 371 science, which we need to spend. So I've been debating whether I want to go ahead and spend it in this tier, or whether I want to take some of our money and go ahead and upgrade so I can just get like propulsion, or no, not propulsion, the heavier rockets, so I can get the mainsail and maybe the advanced fuel system so I can get the Jumbo 64 fuel tank, which kind of want. I kind of want that. In the long run, I'm also looking at something like nukes, but we're a good ways from that. Fairings aren't super critical to me. I'm still, at some point I'll do some plane stuff, but again, not super critical. It'd be nice to have the advanced inline stabilizers and maybe some RCS. And I don't care about miniaturization. I do care more about this stuff. So I think that's actually what's up here. The spark engine's fine. It doesn't work real well with the systems I've got right now. Skipper's good, but if I'm going to get the skipper, so the skipper is how many? 568 kilonewtons at sea level versus the mainsail, which is 1379. Just a huge difference. That's just like your go-to launch engine, really for the rest of the game at that point. So why not? We're going to spend half our money to upgrade our Kerbal. You can now EVAs and collect surface samples. Resource transfer available. You can move fuel from one tank to another. But most importantly, that research science limit goes up. So let's do it. I'm just going to do it. Now we have a cool new space center. Oh, blast. So I will still have to get this. Okay, but at least I can go right to that. So I might not be able to get the fancy propulsion. No, the fuel system. 160, 281. Yeah, that's less than that. But mainsail. That's the thing I want to get, even though I don't have great fuel systems to support it yet. So maybe that's the next step. Let's see. What's our mission? So we had talked about doing something different this time. I was debating positioning a satellite in orbit around the moon, I think. Do I have that one? Yeah. Which is still an option, but I'm also I'm also thinking about doing a rescue mission, which is fun, but I am not good at these. Which, it's okay. Don't have to be perfect at it, but I do like these rescue missions. I find them challenging but kind of fun. The idea would be to go up here. You see there is a satellite essentially in orbit right now that is Verine scrap, so we have a Kerbal trapped up in there. And the idea would be to go up and intercept that craft in its orbit and rescue them. Which, I think I'm actually going to do that. I think I am going to do that. Okay. Yeah, no, don't stop tracking that object. So, we're going to need to build a craft for that. Let's see, what do we want to do? Now, I don't think we have any, while we do have this nice cool mainsail now, we don't actually have any really good fuel tanks. But we have we could just do stacks and stacks of the, maybe we will. Maybe that'll be our central. Let's see. I'm going to start with our regular old, well, we need a probodobodine, OK 20 TO. We're not going to send up a Kerbal on the mission, but we are going to send a command pod, so our stranded Kerbal has something to get into. This really isn't a science mission very much. Let's put some photovoltaic cells on there so we can keep an electric charge, which will be necessary. Sure, we need a reaction wheel. We do need a heat shield on the bottom of this so we can get home. And we will put a stack decoupler right there. So relatively simple. We're not worrying about science right now. We're not really worrying about putting a bunch of stuff on here. So from there, we want our orbital maneuvering setup. So maybe we use the old Terrier system. And we put another nope, not using that. Nope. So this is what we're going to move around, use to move around in orbit. Let's put a battery on there too. We should bring all that back, so no reason not to. And then, do we have a? Yeah, one of these. Perfect. And then we will load it up with these bigger tanks. Good. 1, 2, maybe 3 of these. And the skipper, the mainsail, pardon me. Let's lift that up a bit. Let's get the mech jab on there so we can see how. Nope, we don't need 4 of them. Just the one is good. Then we'll just put it right on top here. It gives us 6,000. That alone gives us 6,000 delta V, which should be good. Actually, I'm going to take one of these off because these things get really hard to maneuver around. I wonder, maybe I'll put a stabilizer here. They're so small. I don't know how much help that's going to be. Never mind. Mainsail. Here we go. Good. So that's still 5,000. And I may. I mean, is that all I need? Maybe that's all I need. It'd be nice to have some RCS on there so we can turn this thing. Do we have? We don't have RCS thrusters really yet. I am going to put some lights on here just so if we're on the dark side it's a little easier to see. Nope. Nope. This one? Yes. They may burn up coming in for the re-entry. Do we just do that? Is that all we need? It's got 5,800 delta V, which should leave us about 1,800 once we actually get into orbit. We should put some wings on here just to keep things nice and smooth. There we go. Something like I don't know. I never feel like I line these up the way I quite want them. Something like that, I guess. It's a stupid looking rocket, don't get me wrong, but it's nice and light. It's not real heavy. It's only 46 tons, which is good considering the amount of fuel we're carrying. I don't feel like we need any rocket boosters. And maybe we just try and take this thing up and intercept. So we'll put this thing on the launch pad. Let's go ahead and give it a... that, and there we go. Just so it's not hanging way up in the sky. All right, 3,000 in the main boost. So we'll probably need to use some of our Terrier to finalize the orbit. Command module. Oh, meaning there's nobody in the command. Let's make sure nobody's in there. Yep, nobody's in there. Good. Let's put this thing on the launch pad, and then let's let what's his name again? I don't even remember. So we're gonna. That's on the launch pad. We're actually going to go back out to the Space Center now, and we're going to let Vereen get a little closer here to the Space Center. So let's just dash time forward to get. Never get this quite right. So here's what I'm thinking. Vereen's in a really low, no, not really low, but a relatively low orbit. So letting him go past and speed up doesn't seem like a good idea, because the way you do that is by having a lower orbit, and that puts us right up against the atmosphere. So I think I'm going to let him go a little past us and then go into a higher orbit. That would make him go faster than us, so we could keep a more safe orbit and let him just sort of... Oh, wait. If I'm going slower, then I want him going faster, which means I need to be in front of him. That's how that works. If he's past us, we need to speed up. So we're going to go into a higher orbit ahead of him and let him catch up to us. That's the plan. But he doesn't need to be quite way back there. But I don't want to... Let him get about maybe there. Is that good? Yeah. May take us a few days around the planet to let him catch up, but I'd rather play it that safer way. So we'll go over here to the launch pad. We will go to the untitled spacecraft on the launch pad. Good staging. Nope, this needs to be here. And that'll detach that. Oh! Ha ha ha! For vehicle assembly. That's why these pre-flight checks are so good. Hey, how about we have a way to slow it down when we get back? That seems like an idea. Worth exploring. Great. This goes here. This goes here. Staging is now correct. And let's launch this thing. See how it goes. And throttle up in... We're probably going to want to keep that... We're going to thrust limit this thing a bit. Down to about there. There we go. Okay. That way we're not just tearing through the atmosphere in 3, 2, 1. But we're certainly not tearing through the atmosphere. But this is actually okay. I'm fine with this. Lots of fuel in the tank. Oh, and I can throttle that up. That's part of the reason. Okay. Lots of fuel in the tank. We're going to be ahead of the orbit of Vereen, or whatever his name is. And cool. Get it up to about 2,000, and then I'm going to start tipping. Bring up the mech jobs, orbit info, so I can have that right in front of me. Feels nice and stable. Do want to be careful not to tip this thing over and just lose control. I'm going to throttle down ever so slightly. Yep, I'm going to throttle down more. Getting those atmospheric effects. This is a powerful engine and a relatively light machine for the size of the engine we're working with here. Apoap's at 20,000. Nope, careful. Getting into slightly thinner atmosphere here. Still 2,000 delta V left in the tank. Okay, we're coming up into an easier atmospheric position, so I think we can start tilting a little harder. Go past the 45 just slightly. Apoap's at 37,000 feet. Meters, sorry. I'm American. What are you going to do? I mean, I get it. Feet don't make any sense. It makes 0 sense. But here I am. Want to go up to about 80,000. We can adjust from there, maybe just over 80,000. 1,400 still left in the tank. Apoapsis is almost up out of the atmosphere. Good. We have suborbital. And we're going to kill it right there. Nice. That was a smooth launch. And where's that? Oh, it reset it back to there when I reverted. Okay, well, might go up a little higher then. Let's just set a maneuver. Let's go ahead and hit orbit, and then we'll worry about it. Here we go. Out, 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 out. Out, 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 out. Slowly. There we go. Periaps 80. Apoaps 84. Touch it just a bit. All right. So node in just about a minute. So we'll hit the burners around. Let's see. Yeah. We have that. This tank is just about perfect for putting us into orbit. So we're going to hit the burners at about the 15-second mark. Oh, this thing is a beast to turn. What a monster. Okay. 10 seconds to burn. Nope. Nope. Don't get ahead of yourself. Slow down. And burn. Full speed. Nice, nice. About halfway through the burn, just hitting the apoapse now. Nice, clean burn. That's that fuel tank and light it up, carrier. And kill it. Apoapse 86, periaps 77. Let's go ahead and just tap it a bit. That'll do. That'll do. All right. Let's set our target. So here we are. Here is Verine. Set as target. What is our current distance? So we need a slightly, let's get to the apoapse. We'll kick this up to about 90,000. Pardon me, 90,000 or so. So go right about here. And we'll spin prograde. Yep, we'll want to stay prograde for this. Click that. That'll be good. You'll see the intersect should begin to get a little closer here as I essentially slow down relative to my target craft. So 82, 83, 84. And that's roughly 90,000. Distance is 1,300 kilometers. So not a lot closer. Let's see what we can do on the other side. Let's go ahead and switch it to our retrograde, which will be our prograde by the time we're on the other side of the planet. And we will warp to there. Yeah, it's gonna take a little time. This is not what I had in mind. That reverting to that pre-launch reset the position of those, which I should have thought of, but well, as you saw, I did not think of. 1900 to basically 2,000 delta V in the tank, so that's good. We'll take this up to maybe 100,000. Distance at intersect is down to 1.2. I mean, down to is a relative term there. We'll kick this up to 100,000. We'll warp here. And days passed. But it is slowly catching up. Well, you can see here its distance is, well, it's increasing. Now it's decreasing. Very slowly. What's its apoapse? I really should check that. Well, hang on. So let's go ahead and burn this out to 100,000 too. Right here. Okay, 96, 97, 98, 99. Very nice circular orbit. I mean, you can't complain about that. Varine. So Varine is, its apoapse is, that's my apoapse. So its periapse is 72, its apoapse is 81. Set his target. So we don't really have, let's just, can we keep track of it? Yeah. So I think we'll just see if we can't see if this distance will reduce over time. Slowly. What I think I'm going to do here is put you guys out of your misery for a little while. I'm going to reduce this down to a much closer distance. And then when we're into, you know, the 20, 30,000 range. Because all I'm going to do is sort of accelerate time and wait for this thing to catch up. So I will be right back. And welcome back. So it's been, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes here. What I've been doing, you may notice that I'm a lot closer now to my target. I'm at basically 8 kilometers away and falling. All I've been doing is, as I've been getting closer, is just matching up my orbit with the orbit of the target vessel. You know, when I was 110,000 meters, so 110 kilometers up, relative to it, which was, its apoapse was only 82. I was maybe burning off 100,000 meters every time around the planet. Now, as you can see, I'll be 7.9 kilometers away when I hit here, 5.2 kilometers away. So the closer my orbit is to my target orbit, the more, sort of the slower the gain against it. So right now, relative to the target, I'm only moving 28.6 meters, which is, you know, you can do this faster and easier or shorter, but I find this more reliable. Just if you can get either spend time or fuel. And in this case, I'm willing to spend time. So we'll just keep going around the planet here as we get close. We'll do some final maneuvering as we get within, 2 meters or 2 kilometers or so. But we're pretty much set for our intercept here. We're down to 5.2 meters. You can see the 5.7, 5.6. So next time around, where will we be? We'll be 3.6 here. 2.8 here, which means we'll probably intercept somewhere around over here. So at 2.8, we're going to need to start figuring out what we're going to do. I think the plan will be to lower our relative speed to the target virtually down to 0 and then fly towards it a bit. So I think we can go to just doing it from this. So we are at 2.8 right now. It is still moving slightly faster than us, so we want to move retrograde to the target, I think, to slow it down. Let's see if that helps. 9.6 meters per second. What does this do? If I move retrograde, I don't feel like that's gonna, well, it is, okay, yeah, I see what it's doing. So that's gonna slow us down relative to the target. I could get it down to maybe 4 or 5, and then we will burn towards the target. So we want to basically just slow down all our movement relative to our target, and that's plenty good. And now we're actually going to turn towards it and fly towards it carefully. You don't want to go zooming past it either. So we're 2.8 kilometers away. We'll build up some speed relative to the target. Now we're flying straight towards it, basically. That's good. And then we will spin retrograde. So this to me seems like the right thing. Our retrograde is almost exactly away from the target, which means our speeds are virtually lined up. And we need to be careful about this. Our periapsis is now back in the atmosphere. Because Come on, get closer. Are we falling? Once it's under, yeah, once it's under that kilometer mark, we can actually good, that's coming back out. All right, we are virtually in an identical, yeah, what should be a relatively identical orbit. I think we can move this a little closer. We could probably almost dock with this thing if we wanted. So we will take it back to about 5 meters per second. 6. I meant 6, apparently. We can go a little faster than that. Won't be hard to burn off 7 meters per second of delta V. We'll get this down to about, let's call it the 250 mark. We're still out of the atmosphere, so we don't have to worry about any atmospheric drag effects here. That's good. Let's go ahead and burn off that speed. Match back up. And we'll fly towards it again. Perfect. This time we're just going to fly right towards it. Very cautiously. We'll make this real easy for Vereen to hop out and hop in the next one. Good. $170 meters. 130 meters. 100 meters. 60 meters. And we are virtually parked next to this thing. Oh, that's real good. Oh, yeah. Can't complain about that at all. Put it right next to it. It's not even going to bump us. I could bump it. All right. To switch over, you hit bracket, I believe? Yeah, that feels right. Yep. And now we are controlling Vereen, who's going to do the shortest, easiest EVA of her life. All right. We are going to let go. R to activate our... Whoop. Control yourself there, Vereen. And then now we just need to swing around. We'll put our lights on for fun. Swing around. I didn't cover the door, right? I didn't cover the door. I covered the door. Oh my God. Did I cover the door? B. I saw that B button for a second. Oh, I can't believe it. B button, where did you go? Come back, B button. Well, that took a while. So after much button pressing and kind of slamming into, into the spaceship a couple of times, we managed to squeeze in past the parachute. I do not know how. It's best not to think about it, but we have recovered Vereen Kerman. We have completed the mission. Let this be a lesson to you. Don't cover your door. It's the only way in and out of the spacecraft. Somebody's going to have to come once she lands with a crowbar and get her out of there. Vereen's scrap is left in orbit, and we can now begin to turn home. And tons of fuel left in the tank, more than enough. So we will line that up, and we'll just burn for home now. Get that periaps low. Everything looks good, yeah. I think this will be a successful one. Just a matter of not blowing up in the atmosphere, he said confidently. We don't want to overdo it. Probably get into the atmosphere, burn a little more speed off, though we really have almost none to speak of. Periops down to 0. We have a good... I can probably slide that in a little more. Oh, can we get it close to the Space Center again? That'd be cool. I could... All right, you're going to burn off a bunch of speed when you come in. So, there. I think that'll do it. I think that'll get us real close. We will F5, and let's just zip forward until we're actually into the atmosphere here. If we start to zip past the Space Center, we can always just sort of burn a little harder. Yeah, we're still speeding up a bit, but as we enter the atmosphere, I think we'll bleed a lot of it off. There's the Space Center right over there. I think that's where it'll be. Am I remembering that? No, we're going to come in right over it, right here. So once we're over this mountain, let's burn a little more speed off. Why not? Burn hard. May not be able to burn off enough. I think I may have done it too late. We'll see. See how close we can get. Slowly bringing that closer. Now we don't, I mean, I'm not that worried about it, but we don't want to crash into any buildings. Down to 1700. We got atmospheric effects going yet? Why am I doing that? Let's burn like that instead. Where's that get us? Slower. How close can we get? I think we're just going to be just off the coast. Down to 1300, coming over the Space Center now. Oh, we got atmospheric effects. Let's cut that. Go ahead and have our heat shield. There's the Space Center. Pretty good. There's the secret base over there. Blader's holding nicely. You're almost home, Vereen. It's going to be a short flight home. 1,000 down to 1,000 meters per second. Already out of the atmospheric effects. Nice. Nice. Nice and close. We're a short flight away. Yeah. All right. Aside from the whole covering the crew hatch with a parachute thing, that couldn't have gone a lot better. I mean, so don't cover your hatch with a parachute. Is the lesson to take away. Can deploy parachutes are out. That one still works. That's good to know. And we will time accelerate down to the water. Within sight of the Kerbal Space Center. Pretty happy. All right. Well, that's one way of doing a burn and rescuing a Kerbal in orbit, is just to really kind of dial that orbit in and slowly reduce it as you get closer, reduce the difference. And that can mean if you're going faster and have to catch up, slowly move your orbit out as you get closer and closer. Or if it is behind you and needs to catch up, then have your orbit be beyond the orbit of the targeted vehicle or whatever you're trying to capture. You can do that. You can make those orbital change in sort of larger chunks. You can make them very gradually, more like I did. It really depends on what your comfort level is. And we recover. Vereen Kerman, you're home. Welcome back. Just outside of Kerbal Space Center. So we get some money. We recovered things at 97% value. We got now a level 1 engineer. That's awesome. And I think that's going to do it. Thank you, as always, for joining me for Kerbal Space Program. My name is Sean Sands from gamerswithjobs.com, and we will see you real soon.